Hello, Aquarius, and welcome to your March forecast. I'm Nicholas Ashbaugh. I hope you're doing well. We have Apollo behind us, holding some space, stretching, and I just wanted to say welcome. Thank you so much for giving me a little bit of extra time here to get back to normal. I've been fighting a cold the last week, so thank you so much. This reading, as always, is going to help you navigate the month ahead, and I like to begin each and every reading with some channeled messages. As I was tuning in for your sign, what came through was just a spark, like an image of something sparking from one thing to another. This can represent so many different things, all positive. I think for many of you, this could be intuition or inspiration. And like anything, you have to kind of take that spark and put it into action. So it's maybe like an ace of wands, if you will. And so this month is offering you an opportunity to expand an idea, to follow your instincts or your intuition to create something new. And I think the biggest challenge will be just kind of putting together an outline or an action plan to bring it into fruition. The spark can also be energy between you and another person. So this could be a really cool partnership in business or work. It could be love. It could be friendship. The key thing here is you feel the spark when it's there, and you don't need anybody reading cards or confirming it. If you've ever been fortunate enough to meet someone and just know that there's something there, whether it's in friendship or love, you know what I'm talking about. And if not, you'll know when you know. So be open to get out there and to mix and mingle and network, because I do feel like there are some opportunities this month to spark a connection. And finally, this is a chance for you to also inspire others. So that spark can be something that you help other people feel. It could be sparking change, sparking innovation, and also helping people think in a different way. The key to being successful here is to keep it in the energy of possibility. And as long as you are in that sort of passionate, inspiring, and curious phase and energy, you can get other people to do the same. All right, let's go ahead now, give the cards a shuffle, and see what else is in store in the month ahead. All right, take a nice deep breath, let go of any preconceived ideas that you might be holding on to. Just imagine that you are stepping out onto a beach that is perfectly clear. The sky is clear, the beach is clean, and you're just putting your feet in the sand. Create a circle around your body and call in the protective energy of angels, spirit guides, and ascended masters, and we can begin. Like all of my readings, you can use this for your sun sign, rising, or moon. All right, let's get started here. We're going to begin with your catalyst energy. And we have the mentor coming through. Beautiful owl connected to your wisdom, to Athena. This would also be like a Hierophant, or even, what's the other thing that's coming through, like the Hermit. So this is a chance for you to either step into the role of teacher or find someone to help train or teach you on a given path. It's also reminding you that people are ready and willing to listen to you if you trust yourself, if you're willing to step into a leadership position. So this is particularly true in school, work, or extracurricular activities. If there's something where you want to sort of like see a change happen, what Spirit's saying is be the change. And share your insight Share your ideas. People are ready to listen to you. I always like to take a look at the cards and just see what the overarching trend is. It's quite nice that we have Three of Cups energy right at the center. This could represent something worth celebrating. It's also an invitation to get out there. We see communication coming through and a couple of challenges around the communication where there may be inadequate resources or time, and it's about speaking up. We also see that for some of you, you might be pulled too thin and there's not enough rest and recuperation time. So already I'm starting to see a few things to focus on. But before we get ahead of ourselves, let's get to that Three of Cups, which is worth celebrating. This card reminds you of the importance of having some fun. The Three of Cups can represent dinner with a friend or coffee with a friend. It can also be exactly what you see on this card. A date night, going out with the people that you love, and yes, partying from time to time. But really, this is about celebrating life's little victories and making sure that you're infusing some fun in the day-to-day progress and process. You want to avoid excess with the Three of Cups, so it can be any sort of excess. Sometimes we use work as an escape. Sometimes we use food or drink or some other substance. And Three of Cups is basically reminding you everything in moderation. Also, this can represent word of mouth. In the most positive read, since this card is upright, it could mean that for some of you, you're doing really well. Word is getting around. It can actually show that if you continue to do that, there could be like a promotion or a great opportunity that's opening up. Particularly since if we look in the deep past, some of you are overdue for that. We have an Ace of Pentacles there. So keep up the good work, stay positive in your communication. And I think a really good general rule is if you're going to say something, make sure it's the kind of communication that you would want to get back to the person that you're talking about. That way, there's never any regrets. You're always going to be able to, go to sleep at night and feel like you've done the best possible work, particularly when it comes to what you're putting out there, because you really do get what you put out, particularly when it comes to feedback, communication, and I would say just general deeds. And that's being supported as we take a look at what's crossing this card. So we have the King of Swords, and it's about walking the walk and talking the talk. So definitely lead by example when it comes to general communication. The King of Swords is also very clear and very direct when it comes to yes or no. And one of the things that I saw right off the bat, Four of Swords in reverse can show that you're fatigued. The Five of Pentacles in reverse can show that there's not enough resources to go around. And so this person is speaking up and saying, I need more help here. I need a little more rest here. I can do this, but in order to make this happen, something has to give. So being realistic, coming to the sort of table with a solution, and there's no need to be apologetic when you're speaking the truth in these sorts of situations. Generally speaking, the King of Swords also represents that in this moment, people are looking to you for ideas, for insights, and again, they're looking to see if you're walking the walk and talking the talk, if it's all aligning. So make sure that if you say you're going to do something, that you do. And because we're looking at a card that represents the ultimate in air signs, Aquarius, this represents a month where you can really stand out. So this is why you want to make sure that if you're going to get noticed, that you're doing the right thing, because that's what this can represent is feedback and people talking about you. And again, if you're doing something great, there's nothing to worry about. As we look at the deep past, we have the Ace of Pentacles in reverse. Many of you have done the work on yourself. You've been working hard to create or develop something in your life or work on personal development. And now it's about really feeling that value and that worth. Because if we add these two together, the Ace and the Five, we're going to get balance, Six of Pentacles. But it may still be hard for some of you to sort of go that distance and say, you know what, I want this or I'm worth this. And if you can get a little bit more comfortable in communicating boundaries, needs, and expectations, success is going to be that much easier for you to accomplish. An Ace of Pentacles in reverse can also represent a moment in time where you need to basically communicate something that is lacking, which is what we've been talking about. So if you need or want something, ask. If you want to focus a little bit more on yourself, it's okay right now, because this is going to help create a firmer foundation And at the end of the day, you'll have more to give. So it's really interesting as we move from the karmic message to the recent past that it's all about worth. This is investing in yourself and advocating for your worth. And the Five of Pentacles, as many of you know, can often kind of trace itself back to childhood, or even just something recently where someone kind of got under your skin and made you wonder, can I do this? Am I worth it? So rest assured, yes, you can do it. Yes, you're worth it, but we need to work on the healing first. So Five of Pentacles in reverse kind of makes you sometimes feel like the outsider, right? And again, second guessing yourself, the imposter syndrome. So for those of you that are feeling that, please release it and understand that it was one person or one situation, and energetically and karmically, now is the time for that to be shattered and for something bigger, better, and brighter to come forth. Just like I am recovering, and you can hear it in my voice, from a cold, some of you may also be dealing with that. It's not accidental that we see inclement weather on this. We see someone that's a little bit under the weather, and so take care of yourself. And one of the reasons that it's going to be very important to communicate boundaries, which is what the King of Swords is doing here, is because this is not enough rest. This is not enough time, energy, or money. And together they can equal a cold, a flu, or burnout. And so all of these things are comprised within the Five of Pentacles. The key thing here is to speak up, to say, I need some help, or this isn't okay, or no. And also just to take care of yourself. Take the extra time off, rest. There's no benefit in working yourself to exhaustion. So that's the main message there. When it comes to relationships and jobs, this can also be someone or something where you're not getting the same amount of energy that you put in returned. So the reciprocity is lacking. And that is why we have this King of Swords touching all the center cards. What I do love, though, is that there is support. There are other people that might be going through a similar situation. So the other thing you can do this month is talk to other people. Figure out if it isn't a bigger sort of issue and if you can't get some support so you're not kind of flying solo. And this can be in any aspect of your life, whether it's work, school, or a social situation. Really lean into that overarching team energy so you don't feel like you have to do this alone. Let's move on to the crowning card. I'm not surprised at all that we have the Page of Swords reversed in the crowning position. This can represent basically the ability to listen and check communication. So if you are in a position where you're speaking, teaching, mentoring, somehow speaking to a larger group, make sure that you are inserting enough time for people to ask questions. And so you can pause and say, was that clear? Do you have any questions about this? Are there any other questions that you would like me to cover? This sort of openness to feedback is going to help people feel like they're part of the conversation, and it's also going to make you a more effective communicator and avoid any sort of situations where you thought you were perfectly clear, but people are thinking, wait, I don't get it. So more frequent pauses in any sort of communication. And then also, if you happen to be communicating with someone, check to make sure that you heard it correctly. So it's a two-way street. Make sure you're listening, make sure the other person's listening, make sure that the computation and the sort of like decoding between the two people, it's also effectively done. Because there can be breakdown, like you can say the right words, but either end can have a filter or an expectation that gets in the way of decoding the communication properly. So listening is the most important thing. All right, Aquarius, in the near future, we have the Four of Swords in reverse. Let's just look at the traditional card for a second. Normally on the Four of Swords, we see someone at rest, and it can represent the close of a chapter. It can represent a period of peace or tranquility, and it can also represent sleep. When the card is reversed, it's usually being so busy that there's not enough time to sort of like catch your breath. And sometimes it can make you feel like this, like you're tied up in a lot of different directions. And that's what we see here. So less is more. It's really important for you to put your foot down, to say no, and to hold your ground when it comes to, again, being stretched in too many directions. Quality and quantity of sleep and rest are important. So you want to make sure that you're giving yourself enough time to rest and recalibrate. But also, if you're not feeling the same sort of recharging that you normally would, this is a time where you have to take a look at environmental stress, physical situations that might also be causing issues, whether it's being sick, or there might be other things like stress or anything going on in the mind, body, or spirit. So when you're not seeing progress, work with a professional. We got that mentor card for a reason. It can represent a counselor, a therapist, a doctor, someone that you trust. So take care of yourself and reach out for that support and that help if you need it, okay? Now let's see how you're showing up this month. Pretty darn well. The Knight of Wands represents innovation, ideation, the ability to bring something forward, particularly an idea or something that you're passionate about. So continue to push where it matters most. And when you aren't seeing a return, as we talked about here with the Five of Pentacles, that's where you just want to say, no, I don't have time for this anymore, because this is where my passion is. This is where I'm more aligned, okay? There could be some good news coming forth with this Knight of Wands as well. We actually have a page on the heels of this, so a page and a knight working together. This can be great teamwork. This can also be a couple of things that you're balancing. 2 goals, 2 projects, 2 different relationships that are requiring your time and energy. And so that is why the boundaries that we've talked about here are so important. So the environment here, Page of Wands, this can actually be communication. So we have a couple pages, Page of Swords, Page of Wands. So this is critical communication, like no or a question, and this is clarity on that. So what I do like here is if there is some sort of a request for feedback, if you are job seeking or whatever, we're seeing receptivity to communication. That is why it's so important to speak up and to be very clear on what it is that you want. The clarity, the grounded energy as you start to communicate is going to help you get what you want. And I do think that this could be a very good month for business, for personal development, and again, to move the needle in the direction that you want when it comes to necessary change. The only things that could pull you back from this page and this night, again, would be exhaustion, sickness, or lack of sleep, and they kind of feed into each other. So trying to take care of yourself and make sure that you don't have that sort of burnout, that's the most important thing. We have a really powerful card here in Hopes, Fears, and Opportunities. It's the Four of Pentacles. We see a vulture protecting this girl, and the protective energy is also a part of this Four of Pentacles in Rider-Waite-Smith. That person's holding the coin close to their heart. And there is an acknowledgement with Four of Pentacles that you deserve more, that this, whatever this is, person, place, or thing, it's not enough, but it's there. So sometimes we hold on to something because of convenience. It makes you feel safe. So sometimes we hold on to something simply because we don't want to be alone. But the encouragement with the Four of Pentacles is don't settle. Don't settle for the devil you know. The devil you know is still a devil. The Four of Pentacles isn't enough. And it may be safe for now, but you don't want to be safe and sorry. So don't be afraid to hold space for something bigger, better, or brighter. So much of this month is about finding and using your voice, whether it's about putting down a boundary, speaking to a lack or desire or an expectation, or simply saying enough is enough. You'll figure out where and how to use your voice, but it's very clear here that there's someone or something that just isn't worth the same investment of time and energy as you were previously giving. So really audit and look at all the things in your life that you're putting time and energy into and make sure that it still is feeding you and that there is reciprocity as well. If there's any negotiations or conversations this month, you really want to speak up and again, advocate for your worth. In the outcome, we have the Four of Cups, and this can represent a blessing in disguise. In this card, you can see in the background, there's a cup floating behind the person. They're not looking at it though. They're fixated on what's in front of them. And this is very nicely aligned with the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith card, where the universe is offering an option, but because it's out of what's expected, the person, it's almost like they have blinders on. They expect something to happen at a fixed point in time, possibly from a certain person or in a certain shape or form. And when it comes through in a different shape or form or time, there can be a little bit of resistance. So check the resistance. If something's coming through unexpectedly, but it still feels right, that's okay. It could be an upgrade from the universe. And this is really an invitation from Spirit to be open-minded, to take the blinders off, to take the filters away, and to just look around in all directions. So for some of you, it could be in the past. For some of you, it could be right in front of you. And so just be aware of everything that the universe wants to offer, different times, shapes, forms, etc. And that's a pretty powerful outcome. Let's go deeper now and take a look at the expanded forecast. We're going to dig into the areas of health, wealth, love, and destiny. We'll start off first with health, which is your mind, body, and spirit. So we have a really powerful card here. This is basically like the High Priestess, Isis, and she's coming through here to help you see that you can manifest something this month, but you have to believe in the potential for it to happen. Disbelief is one of the biggest hurdles when it comes to healing or manifesting or clearing. The caption on this one reads, "Your dreams, visions, and goals are becoming reality. Stay focused." I would take it a step further and I would say, sometimes when we are fixated only on the critical or only on the negative, we limit the potential for good to happen, for healing to happen, for abundance to come through. If you're having a difficult time seeing the positive, and that can be one of the sort of challenges with Four of Cups energy, it's even easier again to see in this card, then getting an outside perspective, and we talked about that in the catalyst, can be very, very advantageous. So that therapist, counselor, or mentor can come through and say, I understand why you feel this way, but have you thought about this? And sometimes it takes a person that you can trust like that to help you turn your head and see what's possible. Let's quickly look at all of the cards and see if there's anything else with respect to health, and then we'll move on to the next category. So clearly the Four of Swords is really important. Again, not working yourself to the point of exhaustion or fatigue or getting sick. So we have like burnout and fatigue. And again, sometimes there could be you're having so much fun that you get lost in the work or the party or the experience. So pace yourself. I think that's one of the most valuable pieces of advice here. The Ace of Pentacles in reverse can also represent a deficit. It could either be protein, vitamins, or something in your sort of dietary practice. And again, in this situation, I'm not a doctor or a dietitian. You'll want to work with an expert there. We're also looking at kind of like input and output or reciprocity. So you don't want to put too much into any one thing in your life. We want to find better balance across the board. So making sure that there's enough time for diet, exercise, your personal life, your sort of self-management, all of that needs to be balanced out. Because to fix the Five of Pentacles, we need to go one up, which would be the scales, and the Six of Pentacles. Let's see what else is going on here. Some of you might be taking things too personally. The Page of Swords in reverse can be one person's criticism that gets under your skin, that sits there longer than it needs to, and can sometimes even come through when you're trying to rest. So you may be replaying all of the things that happened during the day while you're trying to get some sleep. So everybody has an opinion. You can't make everybody happy. Pick and choose who you really value, who you trust, and allow that to be what you fixate on, not all the little negative comments, because everybody, again, has a point of view, and it's not worth it. You can't make everybody happy at the end of the day. Holding on to tension could be a challenge. Four of Pentacles, particularly if we look at the traditional card, you can see neck, shoulder, even the sort of right around the chest area, there could be a sort of closing down of that energy. For those of you that have a cold, it could also be that. We're just looking at aches and pains around the chest. So obviously you want to work at general health and well-being, but also stress relief and release. So meditation and exercise are really, really important. Other than that, these cards look pretty good. Because we have a card around intuition here, Isis, this is a great time to meditate. It's a good time to get a second opinion too. If you're talking to someone and they don't seem to get your point of view, find someone that's on the same energetic level. Let's move from health to wealth, looking at resources, life purpose, and career. And here we have action. So Thor came through in this card reversed. And for some of you, this is a chance to sort of take a look and see, do I agree with all of the steps that I've taken to get here? Or do I agree with what you're saying, and do I want to take action on that? If something doesn't sit well with you. This is also showing that you're the agent of change, you're the voice of reason, or again, the person that's going to make it happen. Let's break this down into a few subcategories here, 5 to be exact. And we'll start off with those of you that currently are employed. We'll move on to those of you that are entrepreneurs. Some major changes there. Then we'll take a look at those of you that are looking for employment, students, and then finally retirees. All right, let's start off with those of you that have a job. Nicely aligned to the High Priestess or Isis energy, Magician card coming through reverse saying trust yourself and focus. So Magician normally has one of every suit in front of them, and what happens sometimes is there's a desire or even a tendency to try to throw in the kitchen sink, do everything at once. So for those of you that are working, less is more. Stay focused and delegate or say no to the things that are basically creating distraction. And if there's someone in your life that says you can't do it, you can disprove them. Find a way, find a method, and use your skills to basically show that you've got the potential to make this happen. Other things for those of you that are currently working, again, don't overdo it. You may be in a situation where there's just too many things on your plate. Speaking up and saying no is really important. If you ask, you could receive. So if you need to delegate or need some more time, energy, or money, ask for that and see if it's not possible. It's really interesting that we have 3 cards that are, number 4 right here. So 4 of Swords, which can be in action. We have 4 of Pentacles, which is a lack of resource, or it's holding on, and 4 of Pentacles, which is a lack of perspective. So lack of action, lack of resources, lack of perspective. This could be indicative of what's going on in the team that you're kind of embedded in, the company in which you might be working, or just generally speaking, where you're spending your time and energy. So this is why the most important thing is your ability to communicate, to help people see things, to help them take the blinders off and see what needs to happen. What I like about this month is we have innovation and opportunity in these big, bright cards here showing up for you and in the environment. So there's definitely a need to change things up. Don't be afraid to speak, okay? Let's move on to those of you that have your own company. It's time to restructure here. We have the Death card in reverse. Overdue changes. There could also be some stagnation in certain products, services, or parts of your company. And some of you might just be deciding, I'm done now. I've done everything that I've wanted to do, and you might be looking to sell, again, maybe to find someone to merge with you. There's this feeling that at this point, something has to significantly shift in order for it to grow to the next level or for you to move to the next thing that you want to focus on. So definitely big change energy coming forth. If you're happy with your company, this can simply be an encouragement to, again, maybe put some sort of product or service to the side and give space for the development or the announcement of something new. Change does require sometimes a little bit of pruning, and that's one of the big things that's coming forth. Some other things for those of you that are entrepreneurs. You have limits, time and energy-wise. Take care of yourself so you don't get sick. I do think that there could be a challenge with price points. Either consumers don't want to pay what you're trying to get them to pay, or you're sort of like undercutting your profit margin. Something needs to be improved there, and marketing can help. So if you have something that's worth, consumers paying more, it might be a communication on how and why they should be paying more, but there could also be a chance to just simply streamline, and then everybody wins. You'll be able to put more time and energy into things that people want, and you don't have to worry about trying to get people to try to buy something that they don't want to. The market has a way of communicating what's wanted, what's not, what's popular, what isn't, and this is about listening to market trends for sure. Don't be afraid to look in new directions. Innovation is the big takeaway here, because in the environment we have an idea coming forth, and then you can take it to the next level. So I really do think it's more about pruning something that isn't performing out of the sort of like general portfolio and focusing on something that's worth your time and energy. It's hard, but it's important. Job seekers, we have a very good card here, Knight of Pentacles, and it's a bullish card here. So when you're looking at stock markets, you want to have a bull come through because it represents forward momentum. So if you're looking for work, if you're looking for an opportunity, we have a yes here. There are some challenges, however. One of them is I feel like you have to come to the table with a bold point of view and negotiate. You can get a little bit more. It's not a lot, but a little bit more. So advocate for your worth for sure. There are at least a couple of opportunities that are coming forth. One of them is moving very quickly. So I like the Knight energy here. This would be something where you may not have a lot of time to decide, and the early bird gets the worm here. So if you think you're interested in something, put your resume there sooner than later. If there's a couple of dates that they're trying to get an interview with you, make sure you ask for the earlier one and show up with questions, show up prepared. There is an opportunity that's kind of like out of the realm of what you would normally expect, but it's a nice fit. So don't leave any stone unturned. I think this is where a mentor could help. They would say, you know what, I think you're perfect for this. There's a little bit of resistance internally, but listen to your mentor. And if you don't have a mentor, this is an invitation to work with perhaps someone like a staffing agency, a headhunter, or again, somebody that you already know that might be able to get your resume in the door a little bit faster. Okay, let's move on to students. Page of Pentacles in reverse. Generally speaking, a good card, but it does feel like for some of you, there could be a lack of challenge, or there's something that you want that you're not seeing. So if you're at the early stages, let's say you're trying to apply to a program, but you just wish it had a little bit more of this or that, talk to the dean, see if there's a way to tailor the program. If you're currently taking classes and not getting what you want, also talk to your advisor. The mentor piece is really important here. When I was in graduate school, there were a couple of times where teachers, because I went to school when a lot of technology was still kind of, it was new, it was fresh, people didn't understand what was going on. So sometimes the teachers weren't ready. So I had to go a couple of times and ask for a different professor. One time our dean stepped in because one of the teachers, they were too traditional, they didn't understand new technologies. Nowadays, an example might be, with artificial intelligence. Some people are resistant to embracing it, using it, or understanding how to leverage it. So you want to find someone that's not afraid of technology. Speak up. If there's something that you're lacking or missing, the mentor can help you out with that. This can also just be about budget. And sometimes we really have to look at the bottom line and think, can I afford, how much can you afford? How soon? So for some of you, you might be splitting your time between a job and studying, or you might be looking at scholarships, or even delaying it a year so that you can get financially in a secure place. So always keep it real when I see this. I do think that asking for assistance or clarity on this can help make it easier to parse and give you more options, okay? Finally, if you are retired, we have the Star card. It's a great energy to come forth. This is reminding you in this moment to really live each moment to its fullest and to do something new. Also, this is perfectly aligned with Aquarius. This is you coming through. Star energy is unapologetically authentic. So that's why in this moment, you just really want to, whether it's like maybe you want to teach, great. Maybe you want to do something action-oriented, activism, things like that, perfect. Maybe you want to focus more on developing a project or idea. There's no wrong thing here. This is about really leaning into what feels best for you. So the world is your oyster, and have some fun in this moment in time. Also, by the way, this is a very spiritual card. So if you want to go deeper into your intuition, we have Isis, aka the High Priestess. We had the Magician come through. We have the Star. There's a lot of energy around spiritual development this month. So absolutely, this is a great thing to focus on. All right, let's now move on to love and relationships. We have Hilarion coming through in this space, and it says, divine emergence. Be seen, let the world see your gifts or know your gifts. And that actually was perfectly aligned to what I was just talking about. So particularly for those of you that have a little bit more time, energy, or resources, hopefully when you're retired, that's perfect time to lean into that. Let's go deeper into this relationship energy and see what's coming through in 3 categories. So We're going to focus first on those of you that are in a relationship. Six of Cups, fantastic. Then we'll take a look at those of you that are looking for love. We have 2 cards, and I'll observe that. And then we'll look at those of you that are happily single. Okay, let's start off with those that are currently in a relationship. This is about as good as it gets. 6 of Cups is friendship, camaraderie, soulmate energy. Sometimes even a high school sweetheart, someone that you've known from a long time ago, for a long time. And it could even be someone coming back into your life where you're finally saying, let's do this. This can also represent children or childbirth, or a decision to expand the family. So I love everything about that. It's just a really beautiful way to start. Let's see what else might be going on in existing relationships. Financial matters are taking a center stage here, or might be a topic of conversation with the 5 of Pentacles. One or both of you may be a little bit short on time and exhausted. I still see a lot of passion, which is great. I think it's important to make time and space for each other. Slowing down, acknowledging what one another is bringing to the equation, and showing that you still see one another and still love one another is important. Because I do feel like those are the challenges, but they're all manageable. We don't have 10 of Swords, we don't have Tower, we don't have Death. We just have strained time and energy, and maybe a little bit of sickness. And again, this is seasonal. It makes sense, especially if you're in the Northern Hemisphere. Just like me, you might be dealing with cold or flu energy, so just take it slow. I do think listening is important. It's more important than speaking, so make sure that you're letting your partner speak and letting them know that you see and hear them, okay? Now let's move on to those that are looking for love. You got 2 cards. The first is an indication of where. 6 of Swords might be while you're traveling. Could also show that someone could be coming towards you from a different background, whether it's a country or a different sort of religious background or just different experience. Something about this person is not sort of like in your immediate vicinity, and that could be a very good thing. And then the challenge for you is, do you have enough time? The 2 of Pentacles is you being pulled in a lot of directions. Very similar to what we just talked about for those of you that are in a relationship. Time and energy management is everything. And it really is, at the end of the day, one of the most challenging things. So make sure that you're making time. These are also 2 travel cards. Typically, we would see someone right in front of the ocean, balancing their time and energy. So you may be traveling so much or spending so much time between 2 locations that you might be missing someone or missing something. And there could be also a long distance relationship. So just trying to navigate the distance and the time, that's going to be your biggest challenge overall. What kind of energy might you be bringing through? We have a lot of fire here in the environment. So fire sign is the strongest energy that I see. Okay? There is a karmic sort of lesson from the past, which is self-confidence, and this is hitting both existing and new relationships. So really focus on the self-worth. You are worthy and deserving of love in the highest forms. So don't second guess yourself and don't settle for less. All right, finally, if you're single and happy, amen to that. We have the Page of Pentacles coming through. It's a great time to invest in any sort of project or idea or activity that you would like. Development is coming through loud and clear. And I really do think that this is a time to see growth overall. So wherever you want to see that growth, this is the time and this is the place. Let's move on to Destiny. In Destiny, we have Raphael coming through. Clarity of vision. Be willing to see things differently to initiate healing and experience wholeness. Archangel Raphael is typically about personal healing as well. So if you want to focus on, we looked at this before, the 5 of Pentacles, healing a wound from the past. Loving and forgiving, oftentimes a parent or parental figure, this would be a father figure, and kind of like letting that go so that you can hold space for cleaner, clearer, more sort of like more appreciated relationships, because it feels like in the past someone didn't see, didn't appreciate, didn't value you the way that you should have been, and there's a chance to heal that. But for everyone else, this can just be a chance to focus on health and well-being, mind, body, and spirit. Let's take a look at one final question that you might have for me. It can be anything that we haven't addressed thus far. go ahead and formulate that question. I'm going to give the cards a shuffle, and we'll see what Spirit has to say. All right, we have the Seven of Pentacles. As a yes or a no, it's a yes. However, with the Seven of Pentacles, there's an encouragement not to rush. Again, not to overextend. And if we take a more nuanced and in-depth view of the Seven of Pentacles, it's saying it takes time for everything that we just talked about here, for the recovery to step in. So whether you're healing your budget, your body, your heart, or something else in your life, it takes time to grow and to go to the next level. But we do see growth and recovery happening. Be patient with yourself. Everything in due time. And that's the main takeaway here. There is also an encouragement to look at the bottom line when it comes to budget and spending, and don't overextend. Okay? And that, my friends, is everything for this month ahead. Thank you so much again for your love and support. If you found any value in this video, do me a favor, subscribe if you're new or if you've never subscribed before. Hit the thumbs up and then also hit the bell icon and select all. You can also give me a follow on social media. It's always my full name, Nicholas Ashbaugh, on all the major platforms. On Blue Sky, my handle is nicholasashbaugh.com. If you want to find out more about me, my website is nicholasashbaugh.com as well. You can also give back in the way of a super sticker, super chat, or a membership. These help me continue to grow the channel and do new things like podcasts. So thank you in advance. Just a quick reminder, I don't offer any private readings. So if you ever see someone trying to do that, block, report, stay safe. And I think that's everything for today. So from my heart to yours, wishing you all the best. Thank you so much for being the best part of what I do here on YouTube. I hope to see you soon.